Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I'm going to go ahead and say it again, and it should be on repeat probably at this point, but it is still summer break. My kids are still home, so if you hear noises in the background, there is a Star Wars marathon going on and there's a Mario battle going on, so there's going to be noise. But this is going to be the first video that I tackle that pile of fabric that I found in the thrift haul video, which I will link in the cards. And I don't know which side it goes on. That's a new feature that I'm enjoying. But I'm going to do the dress for my daughter first. So if you will, for those that watch the video, will remember that she pretty much claimed this fabric from the second she saw it. I stood no chance unless I just, said it's mine and you can't have it. But generally speaking, if she falls in love with something that much, I'm just going to let her have it. So I'm not 100% sure how much is here. I still have to measure it, and hopefully what I want to do I have enough for. So I'm going to try to put the creator on the screen because I honestly, Rosie Caldwell, I believe, is the maker of this pattern. I do not remember her Instagram handle, but I found her through Rosary Apparel with Janelle. So I am going to be making Rosie's Willa dress pattern for my daughter with this fabric. And again, hopefully I have enough fabric to do so. It's just such a beautiful dress, and the second I saw Janelle's video, I knew I needed to go find this creator, and I followed her now, and I'm going to, this is pretty. I can't wait to see how it turns out. And again, hopefully this will work. So there seems to be enough here to do a pretty substantial dress. I might have to work with the sizing just a little bit depending. It does seem like my daughter will fit in the extra small, so we're going to go with that, and I'm going to measure her to make sure. But yeah, so I've printed out the instructions. The actual pattern is currently printing right now, so I've got to go verify that there's still enough printer to finish it in the printer. But after that is finished printing, the next thing to do is start taping that massive amount of paper together. I think it was like 60 pages. So that's a lot. So I'm going to try to use as little tape as possible on this, but this might take me a while. So that's next, and then we will figure out the next step after. So like I said, this was 60 pages. I ended up needing to put all 60 pages together and used quite a bit of tape. This is one of the biggest reasons that I don't like digital patterns as much as I do like supporting smaller businesses and smaller pattern makers than the big companies. This uses a lot of paper and tape. So that's one of the reasons I'm a little hesitant to buy them unless I know that I will be using it a lot more than one time. And this took quite a while to get it all cut out and, well, taped together first and then cut out. And really quick, I do want to say that I'm going to be, I'm trying to think of the word, honest about where I am in making the dress, but I also want to be very careful to not say too much or give away too much, because I do want to protect the creator of this pattern's work, and so I don't want to give away anything that would be like giving away what she did for free, because I don't want to cross that line. So I know I'm sounding a little right here, but I'm trying to make sure that I say what I want to say about this. I want to respect her work, and I appreciate that people like this put these patterns out there, and please go support her and get this pattern if you really, really like the dress like I did. It's worth it, in my humble opinion. Usually when I'm cutting out fabric from a pattern that was digital, so I had to print it out on actual printer paper, is where you will see me using a rotary cutter to cut out the fabric. And don't worry, on the next piece, I actually am giving myself stress watching myself cut out the next piece because of where my fingers are. And I wasn't even paying attention to that. But I wanted to hop in here and say that right here where I'm using the ruler, that's where I had to add a seam allowance to do the center back of the dress, because that was the beginning of the piecing, the epic amount of piecing that I had to do for this pattern. And basically the strip on the end right here that you see me pull off, those are literally what I'm saying when I say I had shreds of fabric left. That's pretty much what was left of this fabric when I finished. Yeah, see there, I'm giving myself stress watching myself cut out. But yeah, I don't generally cut out patterns with a rotary cutter. But when we're using printer paper instead of regular pattern paper, obviously I don't want my scissors cutting through that, my fabric scissors, so that's usually when I'll pull the rotary cutter out. But it is not my favorite way to cut out a pattern for sure. I'm just a pins and scissors girl. But the first thing to do after cutting out and after I had spent a whole day the day before piecing a lot of these pieces together was marking the placement of the elastic lines. So bias tape is sewn where these lines go, and then you weave the elastic through it. So just begin the process of marking where they went and chalk marking where to put the bias tape down, pinning it down, and then sewing it down. I've mentioned in a previous video, but a lot of this bias tape or hem tape that you'll see me pull out, I bought those at thrift stores. So whenever I'm at a thrift store, if I ever see any of these bias tape packages or hem tape packages, I grab them because usually thrift stores will have like 25 or 50 cents on them. So there are actually two different packages of these. They were just very similar in color, but they were different material. But I had enough to piece together the 6 pieces between the front and the back to do this. And I just picked the most fadeable, I guess, color is what I want to say to the fabric as possible. I didn't have an exact match, but it's going to be on the inside, so it didn't matter. I just didn't want it to be so dark that you could see it through the fabric itself. So yes, these 2 packages were purchased also at the thrift store, and they still had their 50-cent price tag on them. So one of them was used prior in another project, so there was only a little bit of it left, and then I used an entire package of another. So yeah, this is one of those, I have a massive stash of just random colors because, like I said, whenever I find one, I get it. These are the sleeve pieces that I am sewing on. So there were 4 sleeve pieces, 2 with the front and 2 with the back. And then they got sewn together in the underarm seam as one fell swoop with the side seam. And I have done that plenty on doll dresses, but I had never actually done that on a dress for what would be an adult size, because this is an adult extra small. My daughter just fits in it, and maybe I'm having just a little bit of a problem saying that my daughter's in adult size clothing. However, it was my first time doing a side seam that way that included the underarm seam, and I really liked it. I liked how it turned out. And so all of the interior of this is serged as far as finishing the seam, and I wouldn't change that. This worked out really well and came out very clean and pretty on the inside, and the fabric is very light, so ironing the seams to one side instead of opening them worked fine. The only 2 seams that weren't done like this were the side and the underarm seams that were serged individually before they were sewn together, and I will get to that at that point. Okay, so just a quick little aside. The next step is doing the facing for the neck edge, which I want to show really quick how much of this fabric I actually used. There's literally shreds left. So I had to do so much piecing to these pieces. You can see right here on the end of this one and on the other side, it's not going in the same direction. There's literally a point in one of them where I had to add on like half of it this way, going up this way. But you know what? It worked. The sleeves, there's only one sleeve piece that's not pieced, and I put it on the front. The 2 pieces that I felt were the most obviously pieced, I put on the back of the dress, but I just had to seam them together in the middle of the sleeve. There, I was really pushing it on getting fabric for this dress, but with as gathered as it's going to be, I really don't think it's going to be noticeable. I didn't even have to serge where I pieced the sleeves together because that's selvage right there, and that's the way it is on all of them. So, and then as you can see here, there's a center back seam that I had to put in because I didn't have enough on the fold. So yes, I put this on the back piece because I was trying to make sure as much of the piecing as I could was on the back of the dress where it wouldn't matter, or on the inside of the dress. The pockets I'll show eventually, but those are almost of a completely different fabric. And then I am adding a built-in slip with the same fabric that I am doing the pockets with, because I didn't even have enough fabric to do pockets. And yeah, I'll show how I'm going to do those when I get to that step. But I'm fine with it in that, like, I made it work, and I'm going to have enough to make her a dress out of this. I'll just have to do a rolled hem or a basic hem. The facing that it has for the bottom, obviously I would not even begin to have enough fabric for that. So the next bit is to sew the facing pieces together and then get them onto the bodice. I am going to show that with my slant needle machine. I made these 2 with the buttonholer, made these 2 little buttonholes in the front, and that's where the tie is going to come out. And I did make the tie already, although I'm not sure it's long enough. I thought I followed directions anyway, and I know it'll go around her neck, so I'm gonna probably try to make it work, because like I said, there's no more fabric. I have literal shreds of this fabric left. So yeah, I'm gonna go get the facing pieces sewn together at the shoulders. I am going to serge those edges like they said, and then we'll begin the process of sewing it all the way around the neck edge, which is huge because it's going to be gathered. So I have a very big piece of big piece at the top at the moment. You'll see here that for the facing, I did serge the other edge of it, and I didn't mention that prior, I don't believe, but that edge is just serged, and then it is sewn down. I will show in a minute a little bit of the steps that I did the understitching after I did this, and then Once it was ironed down on the inside and I clipped the seams, then you ran 2 rows of stitching to form another channel, which that channel is where the strip of fabric that I made a little bit ago in this video goes as a tie. So that is what I'm doing here and all the steps to do that. Okay, I'm quickly running out of time to work on this today, but I got the pocket pieces sewn on, and this is what I tried to show that I was talking about, so these two are the back, the pockets that are on the back, because when they're going to come around to the front, and so if there is a gap in the seam, like if, you know, when she's sticking her hand in or whatever, this is what you'll see on the back side. So that's why I put it on the back pocket, but that's literally what I had left of the fabric. That's it. So I mentioned I'm putting a slip under this because this is so see-through, and I'm just doing it for this dress. She likes ease and quick, and I'm gonna make it so she doesn't have to worry about grabbing a slip. So I went ahead and, as the instructions stated, you know, serged the side seams, went ahead and did it on the bottom, but I did go ahead and hem this part. And then this is stuff I'm adding. I stitched it together at the waistband just to make it easier when I attach it to the bodice, so I don't have to worry about the layers shifting around. I'm probably going to seam up the skirt seams inside separately. I'm probably not going to treat these as one piece, but I did want to go ahead and get the inside hemmed. That way I didn't have to worry about doing that once this was together. And all I did for that was serge the bottom edge and then turn it up once and stitch it down. And that should be good. So the next thing is to get these sewn to the bodice, and the side seams get sewn up at the end because, you know, you're putting the elastic in those casings. So if you sewed up the side seams right now, you wouldn't be able to get the elastics in. So I don't know how much I'll be able to finish. I know I'll be able to get these two sewn onto the dress, the bodice. However, I need to go fix dinner, so I don't know if I will be able to get any more done today. We'll see. Maybe later this evening, if not now. I will say this is the bummer of thrift store fabric sometimes. I did not see this stain until I was cutting out the fabric. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. And based off of where I laid out the fabric, it ended up in the middle of the skirt. So I put it in the skirt back. I'm still going to try to go get that stain out. I did wash this fabric and it didn't come out the first time, but I didn't spot treat it. So I'm going to spot treat it and see if it can come out once I finish the dress. But if not, it's gathered. It's not a huge stain, and I put it in the back, so hopefully nobody will see it. So I'm going to go get these sewn to the bodice, and I will check back. Okay, I have to save the sleeves till later, but I wanted to show that I got the side seams done. So the instructions didn't say to do this, but when I did over the elastics, I backstitched a couple of times just to make sure that the elastic in here does not come out. For the fact that I added the lining, I just went ahead and sewed over, leaving this seam open for the lining. Sewed over so it's a little bit of a pucker, went down, did around the pocket, and then went all the way down. Then I came back and sewed this side seam separately on top of it. So there's a tiny bit of a pucker around the waist. It won't be noticeable. And the pockets are fully functional on the inside in between the layers. And then it is pressed down on the side all the way down to the hem. And my battery did die. So it's pressed, it's done. I've got to do the hem and then the casing for the elastic on the sleeves. Even out the elastics. Let me see if I can show really quick what I've got. This is such an adorable pattern with this fabric. Oops, just kicked the camera stand. I'm going to try to even out the elastic. I'm so glad I made it work because, oh my gosh, it's going to be so cute. He did a little bow. Okay, gotta put it aside now. I'm so close. Sleeves and hem. I can't wait till she sees it. It's so cute. I'm loving this pattern with this fabric. As with the neck edge, the bottom edge of the sleeve is turned up and pressed, and then you run 2 rows of stitching to form the channel for the elastic to get that elastic poof on the bottom of the sleeve. And I hope it's been clear how much I love this dress and I love this pattern, and I'm so glad I found this creator, and my daughter will definitely get more than one of these in some way, shape, or form. I love supporting small businesses, and please, if you love the dress and you want to sew it, I would recommend to go get this pattern. It's just one that you can use over and over again. I know I can add longer length to the sleeves and make it long sleeve for her in the future and do an elastic at the wrist, and that would just be absolutely beautiful. So anyway, I'm so pleased with this dress. More importantly, she absolutely loves it, and I think the vision of what she had in her head when she originally saw the fabric, I was able to make come to life, and I can't wait for you to see it. It's done! It's so cute! It's so pretty. She already tried it on. She loves it. I love it. I'm gonna be making her another one. Oh my. If you really look hard, you can see where I had to piece some stuff together, but you really have to look hard to do it. So I am happy that I did what I did. I'm happy that I was able to get out what I was in the dress, and I had to coax it back from her so that I can go try to wash it and get that spot off that I mentioned earlier. It's somewhere on the back of the dress. Anyway, yeah, it's perfect. So I will put the shot in of her. Remember, I'll be blurring her face for her privacy, but I'll be putting that in at the end. But I just, oh man, yes, I recommend the pattern. I am very pleased with it. I'll be using it again, definitely for her. It's so pretty. And I didn't really make that many changes, but I did just do the, you know, like I showed, I just did the little hem on the bottom. I didn't have enough for the facing, and honestly that's probably just what I'll do in any future of this dress that I make. But I was slightly worried that it was going to come down a little bit too low for her, but it worked fine. And you know, if I needed to, I was willing to put maybe some lace on the top of this, but I really didn't need to. It's perfect. It's adorable. She loves it. So yeah, one day. I made it in one day. Yesterday was the day I cut it out and I had to do all the piecing, and that took quite a while. So 2 days with all the piecing, but if I have enough fabric to just cut it in the future, it'll be a one-day project, which is really cool. So anyway, yes, I recommend the pattern. I am so glad that I found her through Janelle. And yeah, I definitely recommend it. I was a little hesitant to buy the pattern because I think with the $1 to a pound, it was about $15, and that's more than I usually spend on a pattern. But I've already figured out a way I can make these long sleeves, and she wants some long sleeve dresses, and I can do some variations with this and make her all kinds of different ones without them necessarily all looking the same. And she is at a point where she's growing a lot right now, so having the adjustability here is really, really important, and the length. So I figured it was worth it because I would actually use that for her. I will put the shots in. Thank you for watching. I would love for you to like and subscribe. So yeah, I don't know what the next video will be yet, but I am working on that. I'm just happy I finally got this done. It's been a busy couple of weeks, and the next couple of weeks are just as busy, so we will see. But I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Thanks for watching.